Hello and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm going to do a deep dive into the Crusader Templar class in Conquest of Azeroth. We'll show you everything you need to know about one of the best DPS in the game right now. We will talk about how this class works, talents, stats, rotations, gear, weak auras and macros, so at the end of this video you will know everything to rise the damage meters. Let's dive into it. How does the Crusader Templar playstyle work? The Templar is a mix between Paladin and Rogue. This means instead of mana you have energy for your abilities. This class is easy to learn but hard to master with a high skill ceiling. As a Templar, you need to monitor a few things to maximize your damage, but we will look into this in a second. A lot of people say Crusader Templar has high AoE but low single target damage. This is absolutely not true. You are the best AoE class in the game and the second best single target DPS right now. And on top of that, you have insane utility and class support. This means the Templar is a valid asset to any raid, and I will show you how to do all of this in the rotation part. The main mechanic of your class are oaths, oath chain and oath breakers. This is basically a temporary generator and spender system. You have abilities which give you oath buffs. If you stack them, you create an oath chain. You have abilities which increase the duration of your oath buffs and spenders to use them all up for insane damage. Your oath buffs are Righteous Lunge. This gives you 10% more damage for every stack and is your main button to press for your DPS rotation. Condemn gives you 5% crit for every stack and is a dot, and Holy Cleave allows your abilities to strike one additional target per stack, and it also strikes additional enemies for AoE. Your Oath Expanders are Argent Blade. This increases your Oath chain by 3 seconds and it can proc from talents, and it's also your bread and butter skill. And Titan Strike increases your Oath chain by 5 seconds and is basically an execute. Your finishers are Blade of Faith. This is basically a dot, but I won't use it. And Chastise, which is a big finisher with insane damage. If you don't use it, your chain will just fall off and all your damage is wasted. I will show you what to use in the rotation section, but in short, you want to stack up Condemn 4 times and keep it up all the time because it will tick for great damage, increases your crit and energy regeneration with a talent. Then you want to use Righteous Lunge as much as possible to get super high stacks to increase your damage. You use Argent Blade every time it procs to make this possible, and there are a few tricks from your talents as well, which I also show you in a second. You also have self buffs called Librams, which are your permanent buffs. Libram of Consecration gives you for 30 seconds holy damage on top to your target and 4 targets as well. Libram of Fervor converts your agility into spell power and your intelligence into attack power. Libram of Grace allows your attacks to heal your nearby enemies, and Libram of Tenacity is a damage reduction. And then you have Glory, which increases your attack speed 2 times by 30%. As a Templar, it is possible with talents to have a permanent attack speed buff with all those Libram spells through the talents Sanctify. This means you want to cycle between Glory and your Librams to have this attack speed buff permanent up. This is possible with the cooldown of Librams and Glory. This is not only increasing your damage by a lot, it also allows to keep your Oath chain up, and this is because of this talent here called Warrior of Dawn. Because of this, your melee damage has a 10% chance to reset the cooldown of your Argent Blade by 50%, which is your Oath chain expander. So your goal is to keep Argent Blade on cooldown as long as possible to keep your chain running. Every time you use Argent Blade, your Chastise transforms into Scarlet Hammer. Scarlet Hammer is an energy refund, so you get back 30 energy after casting, and you get armor penetration on your target as well. And on top, this won't consume your chain up. Sounds complicated, but it isn't. I will show you how this works later on. Those mechanics allow you to increase your oath chain to insane numbers and stack up your damage insanely high. If you run out of time on your oath chain, you can use a talent called Testament of Strength. Testaments are like Paladin's Babble or Blessing of Protection, super strong effects. Testament of Strength allows your Titan Strike to be usable 3 times at any health percentage of your enemy and reduces its cooldown by 50%. Remember, this increases your chain by 5 seconds. To activate Testament of Strength and increase your oath chain if you're unlucky with procs to keep your chain running. I made several WeakAuras, by the way, to track all of the stuff here. I will show this later on in the video. The other buff is Light's Hope, which restores 100 energy over 10 seconds and reduces your threat. Use it to activate your skills more often or combine it with Testament of Strength, for example, to make sure you can use the Titan Strikes. Another use is obviously if you are threatening to overthreat your tank. Once you hit the execute phase and Titan Strike becomes available, your oath chain basically never ends and you can do insane chastise numbers at the end. Your last job is basically to use your energy up as effective as possible so you won't waste energy regeneration with Scarlet Hammer. So in short, keep 4 stacks of Condemn up, keep your chain running with Argent Blade, and use your energy before you get it back with Scarlet Hammer or Light's Hope. If your oath chain ends, use your finisher, and that's how the Templar works. For talents, we have the Dragonflight talent tree, Templar and Crusader. Divine Force is basically a leap on the target, stunning it and allows you to get back on the target. 2 points into Courage to increase your movement speed by 20%. Spiritual increases your energy regeneration by 20%, insanely good talent. I have Testament of Fortitude here, but this allows you sometimes to just reduce damage taken. Deep Meditation increases the duration of your oath chain. Fires increases all attributes by 5%. Holy Crusader reduces the cooldown of Divine Force. Libram of Fervor is just absolutely necessary, as you have learned before, because we need all Librams here for our buff, which I will show you in a second. So also Libram of Tenacity here. Liberty reduces the cooldown of our Librams. Less Strikes reduces the energy cost of our Oathbreakers, our finishers. Interdict is a silence on a 2-minute cooldown. Martyr increases the effectiveness of Gift of Seal by 20%, which is our agility buff. Holy Constitution increases the damage against undead, scaling with level. This is not necessary. You can use something else here if you don't want to use it, because it's not always a good talent. Deep Secrets increases the duration of your Librams and Testaments by 10 seconds. Tenacious Defender allows your Libram of Tenacity to heal yourself for 20% of your maximum health, so pretty good. 2 points into Sturdy increases your maximum health and energy by 10%. Everything which increases our energy is super good for us. Determined allows your Temple Guardian to make your next ability within 5 seconds free of cost. You don't have to use it if you don't want to play like this, but I like it. Judgment of the Gods increases the crit of Titan Strike by 50%. 2 points into Finesse to increase our crit. 1 point into Mark of Agrama reduces the energy cost of your Testaments by another 50%. This talent is also optional here. Sanctify is the bread and butter talent here, which allows our Librams to increase our melee haste for 20 seconds, as I have told you before. And finally, Glory, another attack speed buff on a 2-minute cooldown. You can substitute the talents I have showed you here for another way. You could also go Testament of Hope here, which summons 2 copies of you. It also does really good damage. If you want to play like this, put 2 points into this way here for Sacred Style and the Testament of Hope. But for now, I don't use it because I like to use my energy a little bit otherwise. But it's a really good talent here. If you want to play Righteous Tempest, you could also go Pulverizing or Big Pulse in Mythic Dungeons, for example, but we don't need this, as I will show you in the AoE section for rotation. For Crusader, you have Righteous Tempest. You don't really use this much often, basically near to nothing. In some situations you can use it to spread Condemn on more targets around you. Argent Blade, I have showed you this before. 2 points into Agrama's Rage. This increases your Holy Crit Strike chance by 6% and your Expertise by 10. 2 points into Pure Focus. Increases the chance to trigger Scorchbane by 10% and the chance to hit. Scorchbane is your first passive here. Every direct damage you deal has a 30% chance to strike an enemy with Scorchbane, which is basically Holy Flame damage. Warrior of Tyr allows your periodic damage dealt with a 10% chance to generate 5 energy. This means your Condemn allows you to get energy back. Pretty good. Chivalric increases your crit of holy spells and abilities by 15%. Chivalric increases your critical damage with holy spells and abilities by 15%. Warrior of Dawn, I have showed you this before. You absolutely insane reset talent and absolutely necessary for our damage. Paladin training increases the damage of Righteous Lunge and Argent Blade by 20%. Scarlet Secrets now allows our Oath Retribution, which we get from Argent Blade as well, deal 5% more critical damage. Scorch Defense training allows Warrior of Dawn to increase your damage and critical strike chance of your next Argent Blade by another 20%. Holy Tempest allows your Righteous Tempest to spread Condemn on any target around you. This can be good in some situations. Focused increases the damage of Blade of Faith, we don't use it, and Righteous Tempest by 25%. We need this to get to Radiant Blade because this increases the effectiveness of Oath of Righteous Lunge by 25%. Only 1 point here, I will show you in a second why. Judgment increases the damage of Scourgebane, Scarlet Hammer and Titan Strike by 25% in execute phase. Retribution allows our melee damage to has a 20% chance to strike 2 additional times for holy damage, and this is really good and a really high damage source in our damage meter. Fierce Blessing allows Condemn to stack an additional time, so this allows us to stack Condemn 4 times, and with Templar Smite, our Righteous Lunge and Chastise used on enemies affected by Condemn now deal 6% increased damage per stack, so 24% more damage when we keep our Condemned stacked on the target. Crusader's Brand is an insanely good talent. Every time an enemy hit, it deals 416 holy damage to it, though you can cheese a lot of bosses with this. For example, Lord Kazakh, who hits a lot and has a weakness to holy damage, he gets insane damage from this. This probably gets nerfed, but as long as it's possible to use, you should use it. This is also the reason why we can only use 1 point into Radiant Blade at the moment, because we need it for this talent. 2 points into Light's Echo. This allows our Argent Blade to has a 20% chance to strike an additional time, so longer off chains. 1 point into Serenity, increases the damage dealt by party and raid members by 3% and reduces the cost of our spells and abilities by 5%. Testament of Strength, we have talked about this before, absolutely necessary to increase our off chain before it runs out in certain situations, super good. And finally, Scarlet Champion. Our damaging critical strikes now increase our holy damage dealt by 2% for 20 seconds, and it stacks up 5 times. At 5 stacks it becomes High General, which allows our next Justice to consume all stacks of Scarlet Champion to deal 25 increased direct damage and to be a guaranteed critical strike. For passive talents, we also have Light's Chosen. This increases our spell power by 30% of our agility and our crit by 15% of our intellect. Scarlet Training, we talked about this before. This is Scarlet Hammer, which transforms our Chastise. Improved Scarlet Hammer, we talked about this before as well with the energy refund. And Martial Training allows our Chastise to deal additional 50% weapon damage. So for stats, you want agility as your main stat, followed by attack power and spell power, because your main hitting spells, Righteous Lunge, are physical, but your other abilities are mainly holy. This means we scale from both intelligence as a bonus stat because it converts into crit, and because Libram of Fervor converts it into attack power, and with Light's Chosen. And finally, haste. Haste is what crit was for the original Retribution Paladin. More haste means more Argent Blade stacks, and this means longer off chains and higher multiplicators. Super good, and you can also benefit from crit as you have seen from your final capstone talent. Lastly, of course, 8% hit and 26 expertise to make sure your abilities hit all the time. Finally, spell penetration is something we benefit from as well, but this isn't so important right now. It will become important to get 60 spell pen at later stages of the game when we get better gear, but at the current phase you can neglect this. Later on, it will increase our holy damage by a lot. You could argue that it's also good right now at raid bosses, but we don't have so much stats, so you can neglect it in this phase. So with those stats, what is your best gear? You want everything which gives you agility, stamina, intellect, haste, attack power, spell power. So for example, on head you have a lot of good options. For example, this wizard here from a Bolt Boss. Ghost Shroud is a good option, Savage Gladiator Helm, or the microscopic focusing lens here. Imperial Jewel is pretty good because of the expertise, and it's hard to get to 26 right now, so I would suggest that. On shoulders, the Strato Militia Shoulder Guard is your best choice here. You can get a PvP enchant, Inscription of Conquest for it, just win 1 time in Battlegrounds on a daily win with the Callboard quest, and you can get this. I use the Shifting Cloak of Swift Power, you can get this from tailoring. Other options are, for example, Cape of Eternal Shrouding here, Black Baron, or something like this. Royal Decorated Armor for chest has everything we want with haste, attack power, agility, and intelligence, so pretty good. Patulous Bracers are really good with haste. I try to get as much haste as possible on my gear. Other solid options, and you see here for example, the Bands of Serrakis are also pretty good. For weapon, try to get the Glacier-born Greatsword. This drops from the world boss Snowgrave. It's your best option right now. If you can't get that, for example the Fist of Scenarios is also pretty good. From Cenarion Circle Exalted, Light Hope, Typhoon is what I use right now. It's okay-ish. Or the Peacemaker from Spratholm is also pretty strong. Molten Fist are insanely good from Mythic right now. It has everything we want. Doomhide Gauntlets are also a solid option here. Waistguard of the Shifting Sands from Cetus is insanely good. Also other options you can see here. If you can get your hand on the Ocean Kilt, it's the absolutely best in slot, probably for a long time, because it's super good stat-wise. Otherwise, Trollbund's Leggings, Wisdom's Leggings here for example, also pretty good. A lot of options. For boots, you can go with Swift Dart Battle Boots, because they have haste on it. Also, Bloodmail boots are a really good option because they give you hit and expertise as well as all other stats, so insanely good. Signet of Transformation is probably your best in slot ring right now because it gives us attack power, agility and spell power. Band of Wintergrasp also insanely good of course from Snowgrave. Azerothian Diamond Ring, Assault Band, you have a lot of options here. You always have to look with your gear options to get 26 expertise and 8% hit, so try to get it with your options here. I adjusted a little bit so I don't have it right now, but normally I try to have it with my gear options, for example like this. For trinkets, the Alchemy with the rolled shoes here, this Worldforged item is the absolutely best in slot. It increases your agility and your attack power on use, super good. Witching Hourglass also insanely good because it procs your haste rating for 110 with a 54-second cooldown. If you can get this, it's super strong. Rake Fury Scale is also super good because it gives you a lot of hit and attack power on use. Just try to get something which increases your hit and expertise, and something on use is always good. And finally, on Rage Weapon, LS Finale from Wool of Sogoth is the absolutely best in slot. Other good options are Rip Hook, Crystal Pine Stinger, or something like this. For enchants, try to get a PvP enchant on your helm, leg and shoulders at the moment. Agility on cloak, stats or expertise on chest, whatever you need. Ninja's Focus is not our best in slot, it's really expensive. You want Strider, it's basically the agility version of Crusader and way cheaper and procs more often in PvE. For Bracers, spell power is really good, of course as you know, or expertise if you need it. Agility or hit on boots, agility on belt and attack power on your ranged weapon. I recently set up a Ko-fi page here, so if you want to support me, feel free to tip here. Creating guides for World of Warcraft takes up a lot of time and I would appreciate some support for it. So if you want to support me, you can do this here. Please only tip if you can truly afford it. It's not necessary at all, but it will help to improve the quality of my videos in the future. So for rotation, what you want to do is you cycle between Condemn to keep it up, Argent Blade to keep it on cooldown, and Righteous Lunge to stack it up and do damage. This is basically your main single target rotation. Every time Argent Blade procs, you activate it, and afterwards you use Scarlet Hammer to get your energy back. Make sure to use a Righteous Lunge or Condemn if necessary to use your energy. Keep Crusader's Brand on the target every time it's up because it does a lot of damage, and you want to cycle between your Librams. Make sure to always have one of this up or Glory. What I like to do is I use Glory together with my trinkets when I have 4 stacks of Condemn up. Use Light's Hope when you have high spread or you need energy to get your off-chain running. If you're running low on off-chain time, use your Testament of Strength and activate your Titan Strike in between to increase your off-chain running time until you get more procs. You can also combine Testament of Strength with Light's Hope to make sure to activate it. So you charge at the enemy, Condemn, Argent Blade, no proc, Righteous Lung here, Condemn again, we can activate our stuff now, Argent Blade, we have a proc, Glory is at the second state right now, Argent Blade, we use our Testament now to increase our off-chain, now we use our Libram, Condemn again, Lung, keep it up. Fish first procs. Now we have a lot of procs and our damage goes up. Keep Condemn up again. Make sure to keep our Librams up. And now we probably have to finish. 26k damage, about 6k DPS. This wasn't so great in this run, But that's basically how it runs. You need to fish for as much procs as possible while keep condom up and rotate through your Librams. For AoE, your rotation changes a little bit. You will start with Holy Cleave here, and you want as much stacks of Holy Cleave as enemies you have. For example, in big pulls, you just use Holy Cleave, use Argent Blade to keep it on cooldown, and Righteous Lunge, and use Holy Cleave as much as possible for the amount of enemies you have. The good thing in AoE is every hit with Holy Cleave allows us to proc Argent Blade, so we basically have permanent Argent Blade up in AoE, and this is what makes this class so insanely good for those scenarios. For Librams, for AoE, use Libram of Consecration, start with Libram of Fervor for single target. So our AoE scenario can look like this. We jump into it, Holy Cleave, Holy Cleave, Holy Cleave, Argent Blade, use our stuff, and now we activate our Libram, and we start stacking. Holy Cleave as much as possible. Holy Cleave as much as possible. And you can basically keep this up forever with this off chain here. You can use Condemn in between, which is quite nice because it allows you to get energy back for your stacks. But this is basically how it works, and you can keep this up for as long as you want. It will increase your damage by a lot. Make sure to keep your Librams up. This is basically how it works. This wasn't perfect, but just to give you a clue of how the rotation works. And of course, finally, you can use your Chainbreaker for insane damage. The Templar is not only an insanely good DPS, it's also one of the best supports in the game. Gift of Seal is your big agility buff. You have a greater gift for your whole raid, by the way. Gift of Fervor increases the total stats by 10%, but normally you don't want to buff this in your raid because someone else has it higher. Righteous Custodian is a blessing which you can put up most of the time on yourself right now because it reduces your total threat by 2% every second for 30 minutes. Insanely good. You also have a lot of tithes, as you can see here. You can gather them around the world. I will make a dedicated video for those where to get them in the future. Those are your auras basically, and they have all super good effects. For example, Crusading here increases your damage against undead, or Courage increases your damage against dragons and increases your maximum health. Liberty allows you to move faster, also mounted for your whole raid. You have a kick with Interdict on a 2-minute cooldown, and you have Temple Guardian, which charges you towards an ally, healing him and yourself for a lot. This is really good in Mythic Dungeons to help heal your tank when it's getting close. You have a Battle Res with Spiritual Ascension, and a Lay of Hands with Testament of Faith on a 3-minute cooldown. Testament of Resolve is a Fear Ward, which you can use while feared, and you can also shackle undeads. You can dispel magic, poison, and disease with Rebuke, so all of this means you are basically a paladin on steroids for support with super strong damage. What do you want more for a class? For WeakAuras and Macros, I made a full WeakAuras set, which you can see here. What this does is it monitors all my important oath buffs here, as well as my oath chain as long as it is running, a swing timer which shows my weapon swing, all my Librams here, and condemn stacks on my enemy, so I will never run off of anything of this. For macros, we have a lot of things we can use. I suggest to use a Mouseover Macro because with this we can simply go to anything, for example this NPC here, hover over it with our mouse and use our spells without targeting him. As you have seen here, this is the Temple Guardian. I don't have to click on it, I can just use it. So this works on every supported spell, also your buffs. So make sure to just adjust all your spells with this macro here. Simply adjust Rebuke to the spell name in those sections. I will link both WeakAuras and macros down in the video description or a pinned comment. For consumables, you want everything which increases your agility, spell power and haste. This means Flask of the Executioner is really good, as well as Scroll of Agility 5. You can use Elixir of Mungus as a cheap one. Flamelet Magnifique is really good for the Templar, but normally you want a feast. And for weapon, you should use Shadow Oil instead, because it allows you to shoot shadow bolts which scale with your spell power. The Squid for the Agility 10-minute buff is also really good. And that's how to play the Templar on World of Warcraft Project Ascension Conquest of Azeroth. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, consider to like, subscribe and hype this video for more Conquest of Azeroth content in the future. I will do a Seer Lord guide next once I'm more into that playstyle. Special thanks goes out to my channel members who support me with the hard-earned real-life money. You guys are just awesome. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.